Cleaning products promise a spotless home and a healthier life. But for seniors, what's lurking under the kitchen sink could be doing more harm than good. From chemicals linked to respiratory damage to ingredients restricted overseas but still legal here, the risks are real. Today, we're exposing what's hiding in plain sight inside everyday cleaning brands and why the very products marketed to protect you may be quietly working against your health. Stay with me. You'll want to see the data before you open that cabinet again. Number 1. Cascade Complete. Stood in a kitchen and opened a dishwasher mid-cycle just to feel it, the blast of hot steam rolling into my face. It smells clean, sharp, almost sterile. But that steam carries volatilized detergent compounds. Environmental Working Group testing found detectable dishwasher detergent residue on dishes in 68% of households tested. 68%. The plates look spotless. The glasses sparkle. But the cleaning action doesn't end when the cycle stops. Cascade formulations have historically included phosphates restricted or banned in many states due to environmental harm and chlorine-based components that the EPA classifies as respiratory irritants. You don't see residue. You don't taste it, but your body processes it. For seniors managing thyroid conditions or anyone already balancing medications, adding low-level chemical ingestion every day becomes an equation your body didn't agree to solve. Sparkle isn't proof of safety, it's proof of polish. Number 2. Febreze Air Effects. Sprayed it in a closed bathroom and watched the mist hang in the light. Fine droplets, almost invisible, drifting, then settling onto towels, onto countertops, onto my skin. The scent says, fresh linen. The data says something else. A Duke University indoor air study identified more than 100 volatile organic compounds emitted from common air fresheners, many not listed on product labels. A 2020 indoor air analysis found that 75% of homes tested exceeded recommended VOC thresholds after fragrance product use. And yes, phthalates used to make scent last longer have been associated in CDC biomonitoring data with hormone disruption. Febreze doesn't eliminate odors, it masks them. It replaces one chemical signature with another. For someone managing blood sugar, thyroid balance, or cardiovascular medication, introducing endocrine active compounds into poorly ventilated rooms isn't neutral. The mist settles into fabric, into dust, into lungs. If freshness needs to linger for hours, what exactly is lingering with it? Number 3. Clorox Disinfecting Wipes. Pulled one from the canister, the texture thick, cool, reassuring in my hand. You wipe the counter, you feel productive, protected. But these wipes contain quaternary ammonium compounds, quats documented by the EPA as respiratory and skin irritants. A 2019 occupational health study found healthcare workers regularly exposed to quats had a 35% higher risk of developing occupational asthma. 35%. That's not theoretical. Environmental Working Group testing shows these compounds can remain active on surfaces for days, potentially up to a week, continuing to off-gas. The counter looks clean. The air doesn't. For seniors already using inhalers or managing blood pressure medication, repeated respiratory irritation adds stress the heart has to compensate for. The label says disinfectant. EPA documentation says respiratory irritant. And here's the hidden truth. It's not one wipe. It's one wipe today, another tomorrow, then again next week. Exposure compounds. Trust compounds too. The question is, which one is building faster inside your home? Number 4. Lysol Disinfectant Spray. I pressed the nozzle in a closed kitchen and listened to that familiar hiss. It sounds powerful, like something serious is happening. The mist bursts forward, then lingers, suspended long after you step back. Lysol's active ingredient in many formulations, benzalkonium chloride, belongs to the quaternary ammonium family recognized in toxicology literature as respiratory irritants and sensitizers. The CDC has documented cases of chemical burns and lung inflammation linked to improper disinfectant use, especially in enclosed spaces. And according to data trends from the American Association of Poison Control Centers, disinfectant spray exposure calls among adults over 65 increased roughly 20% in recent reporting years. The hiss lasts seconds. The vapor lingers. In small rooms without ventilation, those droplets settle deep into lung tissue before you even smell the sharp medicinal edge. For seniors on beta blockers or managing arrhythmias, respiratory irritation doesn't stay in the lungs, it echoes into the cardiovascular system. And if that spray mixes, even accidentally, with another cleaner, CDC guidance is clear. Certain combinations can release toxic gases. Protection shouldn't require a chemistry degree. Number 5. Tilex Mold and Mildew Remover. I sprayed it in a bathroom with the fan off. Within seconds, my eyes burned. Sodium hypochlorite essentially bleach powers this formula. The EPA classifies it as a respiratory irritant. The American Association of Poison Control Centers consistently lists bleach-based products among the top causes of household chemical inhalation injuries, and older adults account for a significant share of those exposures. But here's what rarely gets mentioned. Mold remediation research shows that applying bleach can aerosolize mold fragments and potentially release mycotoxins trapped within the structure. You're not just killing mold, you're disturbing it. You're breaking it apart. The fine mist doesn't just sit on tile, it drifts into the breathing zone. And if bleach contacts ammonia or acidic cleaners, the CDC warns about chlorine gas formation, a compound with well-documented respiratory toxicity. The smell is sharp, almost metallic. You feel it in the back of your throat. That sensation isn't cleanliness, it's irritation. For someone with asthma, COPD, or a compromised immune system, the difference between surface cleaning and airborne exposure is not minor. It's the difference between manageable risk and emergency symptoms. And mold often returns if moisture isn't addressed, meaning the exposure cycle repeats. Number 6. OxyClean. Scooped the powder and watched a faint cloud rise before it hit the washing machine drum. Sodium percarbonate breaks down into hydrogen peroxide and sodium carbonate when exposed to water. On paper, that sounds harmless. In practice, safety data sheets show concentrated peroxide solutions can cause serious eye and skin burns, and sodium carbonate carries an alkaline pH around 11 high enough to irritate tissue. Poison control centers have reported approximately a 15% increase in exposure calls related to oxygen-based cleaners in recent years, particularly involving splashes and inhalation. When I poured hot water over a scoop in a small laundry room, the fizzing reaction intensified. That fizzing is a chemical reaction rapid oxygen release in confined air. In tight spaces, reactions become inhalation. For seniors with reduced lung capacity, even temporary irritation can trigger prolonged coughing or dizziness. The powder clings to fabric fibers during washing, and while most residue rinses away, the handling phase, measuring, pouring, mixing is where exposure peaks. It looks pure, white, clean. But oxidizers don't discriminate between stains and skin if concentration is high enough. In each of these cases, the pattern repeats. Aerosol, mist, vapor, reaction. We trust the sound, the scent, the visual feedback. But the data from CDC, EPA classifications, and poison control trends tell a more complicated story. And when ventilation is poor bathrooms, laundry rooms, kitchens in winter, those complications intensify. This isn't about panic. It's about recognizing that the air inside your home deserves the same scrutiny as the surfaces you wipe. Because once something becomes airborne, you're not just cleaning around it, you're breathing through it. We've talked about what you inhale and what you ingest. Now let's talk about something more subtle, nostalgia and dust. Number 7. Pine Sol. I poured it into a mop bucket and watched the amber liquid swirl through the water. The scent hits instantly sharp pine, familiar, almost comforting. It reminds people of their grandmother's kitchen, of real cleaning. But comfort doesn't cancel chemistry. In 2024, the U.S. Consumer Product Safety Commission announced a recall of more than 37 million bottles of Pine Sol due to potential contamination with Pseudomonas aeruginosa, a bacterium that can cause serious infections in people with weakened immune systems. 37 million bottles. A product designed to reduce germs was recalled for bacterial contamination. That isn't rumor. That's federal documentation. The CDC has long warned that Pseudomonas poses heightened risk to immunocompromised individuals, including seniors undergoing chemotherapy or taking immunosuppressants. Add to that the presence of glycolic acid in certain formulations, an ingredient that at higher concentrations is a documented skin irritant, and the picture becomes more complicated than marketing suggests. The liquid looks thick and reassuring, but contamination risk combined with respiratory irritation creates a double exposure scenario. Nostalgia is powerful. It builds trust over decades, but trust should follow data, not memory. Number 8. Comet Disinfectant Cleanser Powder. I shook the green canister over a sink and watched a faint cloud lift before the granules even hit porcelain. The texture feels gritty, effective. That scratchy sound as you scrub creates a psychological reward proof that something is being removed. But Comet contains crystalline silica, and OSHA as well as EPA have recognized respirable silica dust as a cause of silicosis and other chronic lung diseases when inhaled over time. Occupational exposure studies consistently show higher rates of chronic respiratory conditions among workers exposed to fine silica particles. The difference here? You're creating airborne particulate matter inside your own bathroom. Every shake releases microscopic particles light enough to bypass the nose's natural filters and travel deeper into lung tissue. Many Comet formulations also include chlorine compounds, which the CDC classifies as respiratory irritants. Combine particulate matter with chemical fumes and you get a compounded assault. Mechanical irritation plus chemical irritation. You may not see the dust once it settles, but lungs don't forget what they filter, especially aging lungs already dealing with reduced elasticity or chronic inflammation. The harder you scrub, the more airborne particles you generate. It feels productive. It sounds effective. But effectiveness for surfaces does not equal safety for tissue. There's a pattern forming. Pine Sol leaned on memory and brand loyalty. Comet leans on abrasion and visible effort. Both create exposure pathways that mirror occupational hazards, silica dust in industrial settings, bacterial contamination risks in healthcare environments. Yet they sit on grocery store shelves beside cereal and paper towels. No protective mask required. No ventilation warning beyond small print. When regulatory agencies like CPSC and OSHA document risks in formal reports, it's not abstract. It's a signal. The same particles that damage workers in factories don't change their chemical behavior simply because they're inside a suburban bathroom. The dust rises before you even start scrubbing. The scent settles before you question it. And over time, repetition turns exposure into routine. That's how everyday risk hides inside familiarity. Now we move into the category that doesn't just irritate, it corrodes. Number 9. Drano Max Gel. I opened the cap carefully and felt that faint chemical heat even before pouring. The gel is thick, heavy, almost reassuring in its density. It sinks through standing water and disappears into the pipe. What most people don't realize is what's happening beneath the surface. Drano's primary active ingredient is sodium hydroxide lye with a pH close to 14. That's the extreme end of the alkaline scale. Human skin sits around 5.5. When those two meet, chemistry doesn't negotiate. It reacts. Safety data sheets confirm that sodium hydroxide reacts exothermically when dissolving organic material. That means heat. Temperatures inside a clogged drain can exceed 200 degrees Fahrenheit during the reaction. I leaned slightly over a sink after pouring once and felt the vapor rise. It's subtle, but it's there, a caustic mist forming as sodium hydroxide interacts with moisture in the air. Hospital toxicology reports consistently show that drain cleaner burns carry higher complication rates in adults over 65. Older skin is thinner. Healing is slower. For those managing diabetes or circulatory issues, chemical burns are not minor injuries. They're infection risks. The process that dissolves clogs is called saponification. It breaks down fats and proteins. The same process used in soap manufacturing. Except here, it can happen to living tissue. Tough on clogs. Non-selective on tissue. That bright orange bottle signals danger, yet its presence in nearly every hardware aisle has normalized it. The reaction happens out of sight, but the risk is immediate and unforgiving. Number 10. Scrubbing Bubbles Bathroom Cleaner. I sprayed the foam onto tile and watched it expand, cling, and slowly slide downward. The bubbles look almost playful. Marketing makes it feel effortless. But beneath that expanding foam is 2-butoxyethanol, also known as butyl cellulose, a solvent listed by the EPA as a hazardous air pollutant. Toxicology literature documents its potential to cause respiratory irritation and, with significant exposure, stress on liver and kidneys. Dermatology reports in 2022 noted approximately a 40% uptick in contact dermatitis among older adults, with bathroom cleaning agents frequently implicated. The foam clings. So do the solvents, at least long enough to evaporate into breathing space. In small bathrooms with closed doors and hot showers, ventilation drops. The sweet chemical scent seems mild at first, but prolonged exposure can cause dizziness or nausea. For seniors already managing medications metabolized through the liver, adding solvent inhalation into the mix is not trivial. The trigger is easy to press, even for arthritic hands. That convenience increases frequency of use, more exposure. It's subtle. It doesn't burn instantly like Drano. But chronic solvent inhalation operates differently. It accumulates stress rather than announcing itself with pain. What ties these two together is intensity. Drano acts fast and violently. Scrubbing Bubbles acts quietly and repeatedly. One generates heat capable of causing immediate burns. The other releases vapors that linger and accumulate. Both rely on chemical power to replace physical effort, and in doing so, they shift risk from the surface to the user. We often equate stronger with better, more corrosive, more effective, but corrosive doesn't stop at plumbing or soap scum. Chemistry follows laws, not marketing slogans. The question isn't whether these products work. They do. The question is what else they're working on while you're using them. After walking through what to avoid, it's only fair to show what holds up under scrutiny. Not perfect, but measurably safer. Number 1. 7th Generation Disinfecting Multi-Surface Cleaner. I sprayed it across a countertop and waited for that familiar chemical sting in the air. It never came. The active ingredient here is thymol, derived from thyme oil, and it's registered with the EPA as a disinfectant. Laboratory testing shows it can kill 99.99% of household germs when used as directed. That's the same performance claim conventional disinfectants advertise without quaternary ammonium compounds, without chlorine bleach. The product carries the EPA Safer Choice certification, which means its ingredient profile meets stricter environmental and human health criteria. And unlike many conventional brands, 7th Generation publishes a full ingredient list, not just fragrance. That matters. Transparency changes the equation. The scent is subtle, citrus-forward, and it dissipates quickly because it's not engineered to linger for hours. Larger spray droplets reduce aerosolization compared to ultrafine mists. For seniors managing asthma or cardiovascular conditions, reducing airborne irritants while maintaining disinfectant performance isn't a luxury. It's practical risk management. Clean shouldn't feel like survival. It should feel neutral. Number 2. E-Cover All-Purpose Cleaner. Poured a small amount into a cloth and wiped down a kitchen table. No harsh vapor, no sticky residue after drying. E-Cover carries the EU Ecolabel certification, one of the stricter environmental performance standards in Europe, and its surfactants are plant-based and tested for biodegradability under OECD standards. That means they break down more readily in the environment rather than persisting. The formulation avoids synthetic fragrance compounds associated with phthalates. The pH is close to neutral around 7, which reduces the likelihood of skin irritation during normal use. Importantly, there have been no major contamination recalls associated with its core product lines. Independent safety evaluations and transparent sourcing reinforce the brand's positioning. It cuts grease effectively without relying on high VOC solvent systems. When I wiped the surface again with a damp cloth, it rinsed clean, no film, no chemical sheen. That absence matters because residue equals ongoing contact. These two brands don't advertise with the same intensity as mainstream disinfectants. You don't hear dramatic promises about blasting away germs with extreme power. Instead, the emphasis shifts to formulation, sourcing, and disclosure. That shift is not cosmetic. It signals intent. EPA Safer Choice. EU Ecolabel Full Ingredient Transparency. Those are verifiable markers, not slogans. Safer doesn't mean sterile perfection. It means lowering unnecessary toxic load while preserving function. You're not sacrificing cleaning power, you're choosing balance. And for seniors, or anyone managing chronic conditions, that balance translates into fewer respiratory triggers, fewer chemical interactions, fewer unknown variables added to an already complex health profile. So how do you choose differently? Start with labels. Look for EPA Safer Choice certification. Look for third-party eco-labels like the EU Ecolabel. Avoid products listing quaternary ammonium compounds, phthalates, sodium hypochlorite aerosols, sodium hydroxide, or crystalline silica when alternatives exist. The EPA and CDC both emphasize ventilation during cleaning. If a product requires you to open windows in winter or avoid breathing near it, that's information, not paranoia. Regulation moves slowly. Marketing moves fast. Ingredient transparency moves at the pace consumers demand. OSHA classifies respirable silica as a serious hazard in workplaces. The CDC warns against mixing bleach with ammonia. The CPSC documents recalls when contamination occurs. These are not fringe sources. They are federal agencies issuing measurable warnings. Your cleaning cabinet shouldn't function like a chemistry lab. It should function like a support system for your home. The difference between toxic overload and reasonable risk often lies in small daily choices repeated over years. One wipe, one spray, one load of dishes. Repetition builds either burden or balance. If this investigation helped you see your cabinet differently, support the work. Like this video. Share it with someone over 60. Comment the product you're currently using, and we'll break down the ingredient profile in a future report. Transparency only grows when consumers ask for it, and your health is too important to outsource to marketing copy.